Here we go. Hello, everyone. My name is Mark Kageyama, and I'd like to welcome everyone here to Be Your Own Hero. And you probably noticed something right off the bat is I have a different background. I finally figured out how to work that app, so you're going to see different backgrounds on the videos coming up. So, as I learn stuff, I try to implement them. But things are going great. It's been a crazy busy week. Have had the opportunity to meet a number of new people. In fact, I'm going to share one of those people that I just met here just today, and I'm so happy to have her as a guest. But things are going well. As far as my health, I think I made some progress this week as far as my right leg goes. It's getting a little bit more flexible. I keep working with it and saw some slight progress there. So that's really good. But what I'd like to do at this time is to introduce my guest, Michele Juliano, and she's in Arizona. She recently moved there. So Michele, please
Yeah.
introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, sure. Well, hi, everybody. My name is Michele Juliano, and I recently relocated to Arizona in March of this year from New York. So far, so good. I'm loving it, and just happy to be a part of Mark's show and to see where this goes. In addition to that, I'm a 22-year non-Hodgkin's lymphoma stage 1 cancer survivor, here for a reason, and really honored to be here at this time with you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So let's get this show on the road. And so let's talk about your family that's had cancer and how you've been surrounded by this disease.
Yeah, cancer has played an integral part in my family. My grandmother died of breast cancer at 49. My other grandmother had rectal cancer and she passed away in the 90s, the early 90s. She wasn't that old. I think she was in her 70s. Yeah, she wasn't too old. And my mom had Hodgkin's lymphoma in the 90s. She had stage 2. And I had non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, was diagnosed in November of 2000.
So let's talk about your mom's journey. How did that affect the family and how sick did she get?
Yeah, I remember it was pretty tough. And my mother's a tough cookie though, but she even went to work. The Italian mom though, she did. She went to work and then she had, I think that the most tough part was she had 2 months of the radiation to the chest area. So that was a lot, and the chemotherapy. But she did go to work and then after she had to stay home for a bit. But I remember her getting through it and, losing her hair too. And with the wigs, I think that played a big part. But then, we were all there for her. My dad was there for her and, to take her, to treatment, made sure that everybody would cook at home. So everything was taken care of. So when my mom came home, she could just rest. But I remember just like my mom was always like this strong woman and she got through it. And, we all lived in the same house together. We lived in a 2-family house, in Queens. And my grandmother lived upstairs and we lived downstairs. So we, family, like we helped each other out, which was beautiful at that
Yes,
time.
absolutely. And you
Right.
bring up a great point. When one person in the family gets cancer, the whole family has cancer.
Sure.
And it takes a team effort, everybody pitching in
Yes.
and helping out. So can you talk about that a little more?
Oh yeah, of course. Remember my sister would cook or, we'd all help out and, clean up afterwards. And my mom would, relax. And I remember my dad being home at night. Cause so then sometimes he used to work like the night shift or he'd come home in the morning. So he'd take care of everything before my mother would come home for work. But it was just nice to have everybody, as a family together and take care of each other. Cause you need that. You need family. Should not go through anything, alone, especially, cancer diagnosis and wondering like, oh, what's going to happen. But I just remember she struggled a bit because she had all that radiation to the chest area. So, but she wound up, everything was good after that. And, have to have the scans and the follow up. And then she made it. That was like, wow, stage 2. And like, she went through all those chemotherapies and radiation. She's a strong woman. That's for sure.
So how did it affect you at that particular time that your mother was going through cancer?
Yeah, I think it really affected. I mean, I was upset, of course, and didn't know what was going to happen. And was she going to live? Was she going to, God forbid, like she wasn't going to be around anymore? I think I was like more concerned about that, but just seeing how strong my mother was, because like she wouldn't let her get her, her down. She would just, and she would go to work too. She'd go to the oncologist and get her, the blood work and the numbers, and then she'd be right off to work. And I'm like, wow, she's so strong. I guess she was strong enough for all of us. So we've seen that like with her as, kids growing up in the household, just, what a strong woman she was, but she was always like that. And so that's like
Wow,
one thing like I really admired about my mom. Yeah.
that is awesome. That is really,
Thank
really,
you.
really incredible. And
Yeah.
how long did she battle cancer?
Over 6 months. And then after that, she went for her, scans I think it was every 6 months for the scans. And then everything was good. Never came back or anything, which was wonderful. She made it through that. It's amazing.
That's really good. That's really good.
Thank
So
you.
that brings us to you. And
Okay.
so let's talk about your journey and how
Oh,
it started, and yeah, share with us how that all that happened.
oh yeah, sure. Well, I had my son in July of 2000, and then just one night I was laying in bed watching TV in October, and like I had an itch in my groin area, and I felt a lump, and I just knew right away I had cancer. It's just like that inner knowing that you know. And then, like I say, I waited like a month, and I don't suggest anybody do that, but I waited because I just knew. And I told my family, and they were really upset about it. And I'm like, okay, well, you got to go to the doctor. So we did that. We went to the doctor. And as soon as he felt that, he says, I'm sending you to an ultrasound right away. And I was like, yeah, because I have cancer. And he's like, excuse me? And I'm like, yeah, I have cancer. So what are we going to do? He's like, well, we're sending you right away for an ultrasound. So luckily I did go, because after the ultrasound, it was growing. So, stage 1, stage 2, could have been stage 2, stage 3, we don't know. So luckily I had stage 1, large B diffuse cell Hodgkin's lymphoma. So I was like, okay, so next step, then we have to go to the oncologist. Thank God my mom had a wonderful oncologist. I mean, I say that guy saved my life, that doctor. I mean, he's just wonderful. He took care of my mom, so I trusted him. So went to him and figured out, you had to go for the, like say a PET scan, CAT scan. They want to send you for a bone scan. I had to go through all those tests to finally determine, oh yeah, and the bone marrow aspiration, which was tough because I had 3 of those. I think 1 was enough. Oh, I remember those. And just going through all of that and finally getting a diagnosis. Okay, you have stage 1, and we're going to go to the hospital. I'm going to have that removed, after they did, biopsy and everything, stage 1. Now I'm going to start you on chemotherapy. He actually wanted to start me before Christmas. And I said to him, I said, doctor, no, I want to enjoy my Christmas, January. That's why you said you have to be your own advocate. Because I just like kind of knew, like in an inner knowing, I'm going to be okay. And I'm like, I want to just enjoy with my son. My son was like, several months old. So I wanted to spend time, with my family. So, okay. So we started in January. So January, February, March, 3 months of chemotherapy, and then like a little break. And then I had 4 weeks of radiation in May of 2001. And I was complete with treatment. And then I had scans every 6 months for about a year or two. And then here I am. It's like, wow, it's like you blink and 22 years later and I'm here. It was a pretty
So
wild ride.
what advice do you give to newly diagnosed cancer patients?
I would have to say to them, be your own advocate. Like we all know our bodies and how we feel. Now, of course, doctors, they go to medical school and they understand the whole nature of everything. But if you feel your body, your body, just relay that to the doctor, because it's got to be communication, and sometimes, like I said, you could butt heads, right? But okay, let me learn from you, because you know your body, right? And then I know the science. So let's come to a compromise, because maybe all this chemotherapy, like I was saying, like I had 4 treatments of chemotherapy, and I had to butt heads with my doctor because he wanted to do a 4th one. And I was like very adamant, like, I'm not going to do that. There's just no need to. He goes, no, but we really should do just 1 more. And when you should say, oh, where's the data on that? Right. But you follow the doctor, what he says, because you feel it's going to be in your best interest. This is where like coming to be your own advocate comes into play. Like talk to the doctor, maybe do the research to see, maybe do you need it, maybe you don't. I just say, just be your own advocate and do the research. Absolutely.
So how did you feel when you were going through chemotherapy?
Horrible. Oh, this chemo was, I guess in a way, you know what? It's probably a good thing that nobody ever told me anything because they like kept stuff from me. Like I want to know, and like maybe it was good, especially when I had a bone marrow aspiration because I had no idea what that was. And I remember my dad going with me,
So,
and I'm like, "This is not
so
gonna be anything."
whoa, whoa,
Mhm.
whoa, whoa, hold
Okay.
on.
Okay.
So what is that, and what exactly did you go through?
Oh, the bone marrow aspiration, you mean?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that's where they wanted to determine if the cancer was in my bone marrow. So you lay on your side, and I didn't know what was going to happen, and my dad was there. So even the oncologist didn't tell me, because no, just lay on your side. We're going to give you an anesthetic. They give you something to numb it. I figured it's going to be like you when you get your teeth done, right? And then all of a sudden he takes like this big corkscrew thing. No, really, because I didn't, and I'm like, what is that? He's like, turn around, just lay down. I'm like, and I'm holding him, squeezing my father's hand like this and physically going like that. And you can't move. You have to lay like on your side. And he's like, don't move, don't move. And I'm like, the tears rolling down my face because I mean, it was painful. They give you an anesthetic, but they don't give you enough. I remember, and I'll never forget it being so painful. And I'm crying. I'm holding my father's hand and I'm squeezing, squeezing. I'm like, Daddy, Daddy. It's like, ooh, I could like still feel it. And then it lasted, for me, it felt like forever in the office. It probably was like 2 or 3 minutes. And he's like, I'm almost done, Michelle. I'm like, and I was saying to him, please hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. He's like, just stay still, don't move. And then finally it was finished. I'm like, thank God. And I'm like, I don't want to talk to you no more. I was like so upset. Like, and then Mick again, maybe it was a good thing he didn't tell me because I probably would have said, you know what, I'm not going to do that. No, thank you. You know, the younger self, right? Because the younger you are, you're like, you're invincible, right? Like, oh, I don't need it. That was an experience. And I've had 3 of those before.
Wow. Wow. So
That's an experience.
how did you deal with each successive one mentally?
Honestly, I think you really have to like mentally prepare it. You know, it's going to be like, okay, they're going to give me an anesthetic. Does it really help? For me, it really didn't. But it's like I said, when you're going for Novocaine, right? You you would have been better off knocking me out, I wish, right? But it really 2, 3 minutes. Just mentally prepare yourself, like, okay, I'm going to be on the table for 3 minutes. Please you should have somebody by your side. You shouldn't go alone for that. You really shouldn't. And like I said, you got to squeeze whoever's hand real tight. My father was like strong, so just remember crying. But yeah, mentally prepare yourself, like I'm gonna be okay, and like it's gonna be over in 3 minutes, and maybe try to meditate, try to put your thoughts someplace else. That's like the best advice. And maybe now they will let you bring in music and put maybe music on or something just to relax you and kind of deter your mind from it.
Yeah, it's interesting when you've had a procedure done such as that you don't like,
Right.
and then you have to have another ones. But it's at least you
Hmm.
are mentally ready for what's going to happen. In fact,
Correct.
I had a procedure which I'm not going to name right now because
Right.
it's so bad. But,
Right.
but
Well,
I had 2 of them done, and
okay.
whenever I tell people what it is, they go, "Oh my God, that hurts. That hurts me just hearing about it."
Right.
So what I did
Mm.
was, after going through it the first time and it was not good, um,
Sure.
I decided to have a plan going in for the next one, and I did meditate, and I
Right.
that was when I was working with a hypnotherapist, and so I hypnotized myself,
Oh,
and it really worked out great. I mean, the
wonderful.
procedure, it was like I was so groggy, and because I was in a hypnotic
Right.
trance,
Mm-hmm.
that when he actually performed the procedure,
Right.
it was like it happened so fast, and then next thing I know, they were done. So I was like, that was really good.
Yeah, you could get yourself to that state. Like I meditate for like an hour and a half every day. I put on the YouTube and I just go right into it, and it just sets the tone for the day. And it actually makes you feel so much better, like with the positivity, and that's one thing people should utilize or could utilize, like when you're going through cancer and treatments, because it does help. It's mind over matter, and your mind is so strong and powerful that you could probably heal yourself really, but yeah, and just change your thoughts.
So
Mm.
through your journey, let's talk
Mhm.
more about
Mhm.
mindset and
Right.
attitude. And
Hmm.
I haven't known you that long, but I do
Right.
know that you have a very strong will, and
Hmm.
and, and you have a positive attitude. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, I think I've always been like this since like I'm a kid. Like I'm like the social worker. Everyone used to come to me, and I always loved helping friends out. Thought I was going to be a social worker one day, but then, I worked for the government, say for like 10 years. I did that. Then I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, took care of my son. I acquired like all of my education. Like I was going to be a cop, and I was going to do that, but I was like, I got right to where I was going to go in the academy, and like one class duplicated another class. And then I was like, okay, let's change focus. Let's do something else. So that's when I decided to pursue like my master's in healthcare management administration. So now I'm a big advocate for people, and I'm like, I fit somewhere like in this realm of like healthcare, because I think healthcare is great because we all need somebody like in our corner. So that's when it's so competitive, like in New York, and it's what I want to do and accomplish, like for myself. This is where, like, say, having cancer and everything comes into play, like years later, because I've always been determined, focused, and fearless when it comes to things. Because, you watch people, and like in your videos, especially, if you're positive, you're going to have a positive day. If you're going to hang out with negative people, like I would teach my son, like attracts like. If you're going to hang out with positive people, what's going to happen? If you're going to hang out with negative people, you tell me. It's like negative. Right. So you want to surround yourself with high vibrational people. Not every day is going to be a happy day, but guess what? You could turn it around, because just because somebody can come at you in some sort of fashion, that means they're having issues, and that has nothing to do with you. So we send them, like I should tell them, send them love and light, and just let it be, because that doesn't have anything to do with you. And it works though, because mindset is huge. Mindset. And moving to Arizona is a very spiritual place, which I'm realizing. And I'm really feeling like more at home here, and like my true self. And I'm like, I'm a humanitarian by nature. I love people. Like my life path is a number 9, like the also spirituality. And like I have to find my fit now for like my career. Like this is my next career. Like I worked in law enforcement. I did that. And I'm like, no, now I'm gonna go over to like the healthcare field, because at the end of the day, I love people, and just being that advocate and just spreading that like love and light to people, because we all need it. Everybody needs positivity. Like I said, not every day is going to be happy, but you can make it a happy day for yourself and others around you, because then they'll feel it, like your energy is good. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Absolutely. And
Right.
we live in a world that's just so crazy, so divisive, and there's so
Right.
much negativity that
Sure.
the only way it's going to get better is if we as individuals try to help make
Right.
it better. It's not going to get better on
Yes.
its own. It's got to be an intentional act to help make things better. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And it's a process, definitely a process. And I think for myself, I've been meditating even more so now for the last almost 8 months. And I notice when, for me, I have to do it like religiously, like every day. And once I started doing that, I felt like a whole shift here. And then it comes in with like forgiving people. This is a big, huge thing, like I've learned too, because, oh, your screen is frozen. Did your screen freeze?
You froze.
Oh, I was gonna say, oh, but you could still hear me, correct?
Yeah, but it says your network bandwidth is low.
Okay. I think it's,
Yeah,
oh,
and the and
you're
the
back.
and the
Okay, there you
and the
are.
screen got small. I don't know why.
Did it? Okay. Okay. Sorry about that.
And then you keep freezing. So we might have
Oh, it
to
keeps.
might have to reshoot this.
Okay.
It is. Do you have problems with your Wi-Fi there?
Um, Once in a while, if I'm watching like say Netflix or something, it'll come like the bandwidth is a bit low. Once in a while, it'll do that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's there. It
Oh, tech it's
came
like
back.
technical issues. Oh, there we go. Okay, now I could see. There we go.
Yeah, I'll have to kind of see if we could cut that part out.
Okay.
Let me see if we could do
Okay.
that. Um,
Sure.
but yeah, I mean, attitude is just
Mm-hmm.
so important, you know.
Right.
And I always talk about treating, cancer people need to treat the whole person, not
Right.
just diet, not just attitude, but the whole person,
Mm-hmm.
mindset,
Right.
everything all comes into play because it's so important because,
Yes.
you know, cancer is just so invasive and um, it's so powerful. I mean, it really is. When I was at my worst, I could actually just feel it
Mm.
making me weak,
Right.
and
Mm-hmm.
and so you need your whole being to deal with it, and that's so critical, um, to make sure that
True.
you know because the bottom line is I think it's so important to just have that intense will to live. And
Yes.
I see so many common characteristics amongst people that have come out the back end. They have a great attitude usually, and a
Right.
positive mindset, and a will to live.
Mm-hmm.
Many have faith, many have
Mm.
just all these characteristics that are
Right.
just really, really uh, common, which I am so convinced now after meeting so many different people that
Right.
it's not an accident. It's just there is a reason that these people have made it,
Yes,
and and it's a beautiful thing. That's
it
what
is.
makes meeting new people in the cancer community such a
Mm.
beautiful thing.
It
And
is. I
I
agree.
don't know about you,
Yeah.
but I have met some of the greatest people in this community that I've ever met in my life.
Yeah, you do. You meet a lot of people with a lot of stories and they keep trudging along. And like I said, with the meditation helps. Of course, having a healthy, balanced lifestyle because I eat healthy, I exercise every day. You have to keep up all those things. I mean, even when I was going through treatment, I was overweight. I don't look like I look now. I mean, I was, oh gosh. And then after I finished the prednisone, I went up to like 202 pounds.
Wow.
Right. Yeah, I know that's a lot. Now I'm 121 pounds now. And I look at myself back then, I'm like,
Wow.
yeah, this is years of like getting, myself right and, the self-confidence and this and that. Like I said, this has been a long journey of like my health, like health is wealth, right? And taking good care of myself. And I said, I look younger now than what I did when I was like 29 years old. That's because I really take my health into serious consideration. Like I said, meditation every day, eating healthy. I go to the gym. I'm very mindful. I'm mindful of my thoughts, not every day, but I try and spend a lot of my time like alone looking within. And what I think probably got the message probably didn't get clear because we were off for a bit on the bandwidth talking about forgiveness because forgiveness is huge. When you hold toxicity, who knows if that could turn into disease and whatnot, right? I mean, we don't know, right? You can get migraine stuff. I had GI issues, I had migraines, all that stuff. And I'm thinking through all those years, especially with the weight and holding on to that, I'm learning that forgive people for what they did and then forgive myself. And I started feeling so much better doing like the shadow work within myself. And I said, this is where now I feel like Arizona is my home now after 8 months. And you have to, it's people going through cancer. If you're going to hold stuff in, it's so hard to let it go because I'm one in like all for change and just trying to, live a different lifestyle. But yeah, you hold on to so much stuff. It's not
Yeah,
good for your
one of the
body.
things when I was working real closely with my hypnotherapist
Right.
is we actually journeyed back into my past when I was really young.
Oh, I
And
love that. Really.
yes, and she said that uh, it's this
Wow.
past trauma that manifests
Mm.
itself in our organs and
Mm-hmm.
could be the cause of disease or stress. And I had never known
Sure.
that. In fact, I was kind of,
Wow.
when she told me about it, I was like kind of playing along, saying, "Oh, okay, let's do it." And it was really
Right.
fascinating because
Wow.
I was in a
Mm-hmm.
hypnotic trance going
Mm-hmm.
back to when I was like 6 or 7 years old, and the
Wow.
tears were just streaming down my face. And she said, "That's okay, just let it come out because it's been
Mm-hmm.
there so long." And it was
Wow.
fascinating,
That's amazing.
absolutely fascinating. You
Oh,
know,
yeah.
I had never been on a journey like that, and to
Wow.
learn how to do that and deal with it was really fantastic.
That's amazing. Yeah, I'm a firm believer in that because I've held on to so much stuff from my see, hence like being overweight. And then once I let that go, it's like you hold on to that and then all the aggression stuff you go through all these years. And then once you release it, you just feel like this heavy weight. And that's why I felt a shift here, like I was just saying a few minutes ago. Like I felt like a huge shift, like things just shifted. And I'm like, I really starting to love it here now. Like what happened 8 months ago? That's because I've been on my healing journey for the last 8 months and it's been difficult, but I pushed myself and I got through it. And I'm like, I'm here at like 51 years old and I never lived on my own in my entire life. And I said I'm an independent woman at 50, 51. So it's a good feeling. It was a little bit to get used to, but I says, if I can get through that, I can get through anything here. And Arizona's been
Awesome.
like so welcoming here, and everybody's been so, gracious to me and friendly. And I says, I am so grateful for that because it's an amazing state and it's an amazing city here.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah. Thank you.
What kind of things do you do with your diet? And what do you do for exercise? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Oh, sure. I think I've tried every diet that there is. But you know what we always come back to? This is funny what the doctor says. You want to lose weight? 1,200 calories a day. And you know what? It works. Because I've tried all these, all the fad diet. It doesn't work for a time. So what I do is I have a food journal and I write down everything I have for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks. And it's usually between 1,200 to 1,250 calories a day. Everything works different for everybody. Like just give you, for example, I'll have blueberries when I wake up and I'll have my coffee. And then later on, I'll have my oatmeal. I'll have my coffee again. Maybe I really shouldn't be eating the Weight Watcher meals, but then I'll have that. But then at night I make my veggies and my beans and I'll make my sweet potatoes and I'll have my chicken and then I'll have my dark chocolate snacks because I learned dark chocolate is very good. I'm not giving up chocolate. So I got to have my treats, right? And working out could be anything like yoga. I used to do that. What I love to do for myself is I go on the treadmill and I walk on that for about an hour and I have my music. And as I'm listening to my music, I'm doing my meditation too. It's like I want to create my own reality and what I want out of my life. That's my time. Then I feel I set the tone for my day and I'm ready to go. But everyone, like, you have to do what like works for you and try things. But it's back to that old adage of you want to lose weight, 1,200 calories a day and drink a lot of water too. What the doctor would probably tell you, limit your alcohol and your smoking. Yeah, of course, we all know that. But that 1,200 calories, it works though. And I've been up and down my entire life, but I finally got myself to a great weight now. And I feel good and I feel healthy. And this is the way I got to live until, God calls me home, right? And I want to be here because I have so much fight like left that I want to do. It's like I haven't even started yet here in Arizona. I haven't started. And it's such a pleasure and I'm so grateful to be here. And like the sky's the limit on what I want to do. That's why I said I love watching your video today. I'm like, oh, I got an interview today and I'm going to go and get that job and I'm going to do my best and they're going to call me on Friday and they're going to offer me the job. Be positive. And if they don't, if it's for me, it'll be. And if it's not, then something else better.
Awesome.
That's
Awesome.
right.
Good luck. Good
Thank
luck with
you.
that. And
Thank you.
and
Thank
I'll
you.
pray for you on that. That is
Thank you so much.
fantastic. Oh,
Thank
that
you.
is great. So do you have any final thoughts that you'd like to share with everybody? about what you've learned in your journey?
Oh, I've learned a lot on my journey. This has been a long, long journey. And the thing is to just, what I'm learning for myself is to release control. That's hard to do. And the biggest one is like going with the flow, because I want to control this. I want to control, we should not have to want to control the outcome. We should just let things come to you. Like how I met you on LinkedIn. Was I expecting that? No. I said, you just be open to things, let things come, and take opportunities too, because like you said, life is too short. Like you blink and look, I'm like, wow, 22 years like Survivor. Where did 22 years go? You think when you're young, oh, I got all this time, and like you said about time, really, I'm sorry, time doesn't wait for anybody. And like, especially more of what you said today, do the things that make you happy. I used to teach my son, do things that make you happy, and do things as long as you don't hurt anybody else, do them, because life goes by very fast. And that really resonated with me in my head a lot today, what you said. I'm like, I have a car. Well, how come I'm not visiting like Santa Barbara? Like I want to go visit California. Why am I sitting here? Right? And taking a trip to Vegas, or like, I'm like right here. When I lived in New York, it seemed, of course, like impossible. And I'm like, I have a car. I can go. How come? What's stopping me? Nobody. You're right. Do things to make you happy. You have to. Because in your right, people want, like I said, make plans for a vacation and they never do it. Well, why? People say, oh, I don't have the money, this and that. Well, you will find a way, make a way. You could do little things. You don't have to spend an extravagant amount on certain things. If there's little things you want to do, I say do it. And I'm learning that. I said, I'm going to take a trip to California now and go to Santa Barbara. Right? Why not? You have to live. You
Awesome.
got to enjoy life. You have to live. Gotta live.
Yeah, yeah. My dad, before he passed, one
Right.
of the things that he told me was, you know, after somebody had passed, he was saying that, you know, we're looking at people who were like mourning for like long periods of time,
Right.
and everybody deals with death in a
Right.
different way.
Right.
But what he said there always resonated with me, because he said,
Mm-hmm.
life is for the living, you know,
Right.
and you know,
That's true.
once you're gone, you can't come back. So
Right.
you might as well live every single possible second, because you're never going to get it back.
That's
Once
right.
that time passes, once that minute passes, once that second passes, it's gone. You can't get it back.
That's right.
And so it's so important that we all make the most out of the time that we have, because it is short. We're all going to go. I mean,
Yes.
there's no doubt about that. I mean, I think we've,
Right.
as cancer patients, we've all stared our mortality in the face, and we
Oh, yeah.
realize that
Mm-hmm.
it's so important to
Right.
make the most of the time that we have, because time is fleeting, and so that is so critical and so important,
Right.
because when it's my time to finally go,
Mm-hmm.
I want to be able to say that I lived every
Right.
possible second.
Mm. Yes, and it's beautiful. Yeah, that's so true. Because I'm here like 8 months, and I'm like, you blink, where did 8 months go? I don't know. And then, like I said about making a trip to California, like, what's keeping me? I'm like, why am I sitting here? Just get in the car, make a plan, and go.
So when
So
you
I
do
think
come
it's
to California, I expect you to look me up.
right. Say, where is he? He said California. I always wanted to visit California. Like I said, when I lived in New York, I'm like, it's so far away. Well, there's no excuse now, especially like even when I apply to these jobs, it's like, I'm gonna go in, and why would I have to be so nervous for the interview? I'm gonna go in and do my best. Look, if they like me, they like me. If they don't, then something better will come along. Put
There you
myself
go.
out there, right? You have to.
There,
What do you have to
there you
lose?
go.
Be afraid? No. don't have that kind of time anymore to be afraid. When I was younger, I figured, right, when you're young, oh, I got plenty of time. Sure, I'll do it. Yeah. 22 years. You blink
No,
and then it's
we don't have plenty of time.
no.
We're all on borrowed time.
That's right. Yeah, all on borrowed time. We don't know what's gonna happen. That's why I said I'm learning to be even more grateful. Like you have to be just grateful for everything. Like when I wake up in the morning, I do my meditation, I do my prayer, and then we talk to God and say how I'm grateful for all of these things, X, Y, and Z, whatever it is. And I say, like I said, set the tone for the day, and then I feel better. And no matter what happens out there, if somebody's having a bad day, that's got nothing to do with me. But I'm going to smile and talk to people, and like I'm a people person, and like I feel people's energy and how they feel if they're having a bad day. And she's like, you want everybody to be happy, but if they don't have that in their mindset, if they're not taught that, they're not gonna understand it. But it'd be nice to teach people that too, to have that positive mindset, because once you have that positivity in you, it's just gonna emulate out there. People are gonna gravitate towards you and they're gonna want to be near you and talk to you and get like when I see this girl at the gym, like she works out every day, she looks so good. I'm like, I tell her, you got such good juju. I love it. I see you here like every day doing the personal training. And she's like, hi, Michelle, how are you? But she's just, I feel her energy. I'm like, she's just got good juju. You know, like you want that. And she gave me such a big hug the other day. She goes, I've been wanting to hug you for such a long time. Can I hug you? And like she held me for a minute and I'm like, I was gonna break away. I'm like, no, I deserve this. Like, I'm grateful. Like she feels me. And I'm like, that was like, and I needed it that day. And I'm like, she just knew. And I felt so grateful for that. I'm like, wow, see, people just know when you need something. So if you're ready to receive, I say receive.
Beautiful.
That's good.
Thank you so
Oh, no.
much, Michelle. I
Oh,
really,
thank
really
you, Mike.
enjoyed our time together. And
Yes, thank you. Me too.
absolutely. And let's all do our share. Let's come
Yeah,
together and help make this world a better place because
that sounds great.
it's hurting. It's screaming out for people
Mhm.
to help make it better. And
Right.
if we make the effort, like you just said, you know, to
Hmm.
smile, give somebody a smile or wish somebody a good day, even if it's small,
Hmm.
that you don't know what that other person is going through. You don't know, just like you needed that
Mm.
hug,
Yes.
you
Yes.
know, you don't know what that other person is going through. So if we can
True.
help make somebody's day, let's do it, you
Right.
know, and
Absolutely.
let's make let's make this world a better place. And so with that, thank you so much for your time and for joining me on To Be Your Own Hero. And everybody have a fantastic week. Thank you for joining us. Please subscribe, like the video, and we shall see you next time on To Be Your Own Hero. Thank you very much.